the Spanda Karika of Vasugupta. Shankari Shakti, the source of living power, turns her awareness outward and the universe is absorbed within her consciousness. She turns her awareness inward and the universe is manifested within her. The sacred vibration, the very signature of creation, impossible to veil, limitless, formless, brings forth the universe. Even within samsara, the yogi goes straight to the unitary source, because the spanda remains immutable as the underlying vibration of existence. All the relative states manifested from the ego find their source in the flow of being. Neither pleasure nor suffering, subject nor object, nor intellect have any objective existence, they are merely manifestations of spanda. Thus, the activity of the senses, though unreal in the objective, moves from the universal vibration to connect with their objects. To grasp this truth is to experience absolute freedom. When being looks beyond empirical ego and comes in contact with spanda, being realizes itself as one with the sacred vibration. Liberated in this way from the multiplicity of impulses tied to the ego, the yogi experiences reality directly as truth. Then the yogi realizes that awakened being is both the universal agent and the subjectivity that perceives the world. Thus immersed in this truth, she knows, and acts according to that knowing. How can the wheel of samsara hold the yogi, full of wonder, experiencing the flow of the universal vibration as the source of perceived reality? If non-existence could be an object of contemplation, where would consciousness be to experience this non-existence? This is an action that leads to stupefaction through infinite regress. Therefore, contemplation of non-existence is an artifice of knowledge analogous to deep sleep. It is not in this manner that spanda can be known. Within the universal vibration, both doer and deed can be perceived. The deed as object is perishable, but the doer as subject is imperishable. The yogi who is absorbed in the flow of samadhi dissolves the ego connection of doer to deed and discovers spanda free from actions and their fruits. Only the foolish assume that, because the effort to act and the attachment to action have ceased, being has also ceased. The yogi cannot cease to exist, because she has become one with source rather than identified with ego constructs. The yogi realizes this continuous experience of being through the universal vibration throughout the three states. However, the non-awakened individual experiences being only at the beginning and end of each state. Shiva, in union with Shakti, forms knowledge and its object in the phenomenal worlds, both waking and dreaming, whereas outside of subject and object she is manifested as pure consciousness. The manifest vibrations, which start with the gunas and find their source in the universal vibration, do not limit the yogi. The spanda that manifests starting with the gunas tend to veil their true nature. In so doing, they push people of unawakened consciousness into the cycles of samsaric existence, from which it is difficult to extricate them. Turning one's awareness to the apprehension of the universal vibration in all phenomena, one's true nature as identical with spanda is reached in a short time even within samsara. The universal vibration can be firmly established by remaining awake to it while in stressful situations outwardly or inwardly, negative or positive, or in situations that challenge one's survival. Embracing spanda, the yogi surrenders to universal flow. Then prana and apana merge in sushumna and, through that upward path, merge with universal consciousness. At that moment, the yogi, remaining lucid, becomes permanently established in universal consciousness, whereas the ordinary person, identified with ego content, sinks into stupefied unconsciousness. Mantras of the various deities, when they are charged with the power of the universal vibration, accomplish their function through the senses of the yogi. Freed of identification, they become united within the awareness of the yogi, becoming one with the nature of Shiva Shakti. The self of the yogi is identical with universal consciousness, experiencing all subjective selves as one.
Thus, there is no state that can be experienced that is not Shiva Shakti.
It is the experiencer that abides in the form of the experienced, universal being experiencing itself on the field of existence. Always present to the reality of universal consciousness that she perceives as the play of Shiva Shakti, the yogi is liberated while in the midst of life. Through the intensity of profound meditation, the yogi experiences oneness with the universal vibration as the object of meditation. This alone is the attainment of the Amrita, the flow of samadhi, which reveals to the yogi her own nature as Shiva Shakti. The oneness with Shiva Shakti that manifests the universe allows the embodied, awakened yogi to be fulfilled through the rising of the sun and moon, prana and apana. Also in the dream state, Shiva Shakti appears in the central nadi and reveals the desired knowledge to the yogi. But if she is not present, the yogi will be distracted by the play of manifestation, and she will experience the illusory state of the unawakened throughout waking and sleeping. Just as an object, because of lack of attention, appearing indistinct at first, is more clearly perceived when we make strong exercise of one's power of perception, so it is that when the yogi manifests the power of Spanda, things appear as they truly are. In this way, everything flows within the yogi's true nature. Through merging with Spanda, the yogi, even though apparently weak, manifests the power to accomplish what is needed. Even without food, she is nourished.
Through merging with Spanda, the truth of the body is known.
The yogi, abiding within the universal vibration, exists in harmony with the world. Just as a thief steals the wealth from a dwelling, depression steals the vitality of the body.
Depression proceeds from ignorance. The cure is awakening consciousness. How can depression continue in the absence of its cause? Awakening comes to a person whose concentration is one-pointed. Each must experience this directly.
Then, extraordinary perceptions manifest. These will impede a person if the ego is allowed to become distracted by them. When the yogi infuses existence with her awareness, what use are words?
She has the direct experience.
The yogi remains present, experiencing everything as identical with Spanda.
Thus, her consciousness remains tranquil.
A person who is fixated on sequential time is deprived of his energy and becomes bound by words and concepts. Caught in the play of subtle ideas and mental representations, the Amrita is dissipated, and because of this, he loses his innate freedom in identification. The power of the word is always ready to veil reality, because no mental representation can free itself from language. The energy of the universal vibration within the unawakened person enslaves him, whereas this same energy liberates the yogi. The body itself becomes an obstacle that is tied to limited intelligence, conditioned feelings, and the ego. The enslaved person ties his experiences to his beliefs and to his body image. This perpetuates the binding of the person to the wheel of samsara. When the yogi becomes established in the universal vibration of reality, she realizes the flow of emergence and dissolution as under her will. She enjoys universal freedom, as a master of the dance of the Shaktis. I offer homage to the wonderful words of my Guru who had me cross the ocean of doubt.
I offer my prayer to Spanda as the blissful ocean of consciousness.
May this jewel of knowledge lead all people to reality, and may they keep this jewel in the deepest part of their being.